In a recent episode of the Cassette Culture podcast, we opened a package sent to us by Steve Gears in the UK containing cassettes and flyers from the late 80s cassette scene. I thought I'd show you some of the contents of that package here. So, inside the package, we've got a whole heap of flyers, which I'll go through in a moment. And then there are a few cassettes that were also in there. So, this first one, this is actually sent from a DJ called Dinko Bazadona in Croatia, who broadcast regularly on Radio Zagreb and kept in touch with a lot of us who sent in cassettes, and he'd send us back these playlists of his show. So on this one, Steve's in great company here alongside Psychic TV on a show. Looks like it was broadcast in 1991. One of the flyers, which we'll have a look at presently, came along with this cassette, which is The Bad News Bible. Fantastic example of photocopy and cut and paste artwork, which you'll see a lot of in this collection. So this one looks very typical of the kind of production that we do in this kind of process, with the typewritten or possibly dot matrix printer involved in this one, and then some kind of cut out lettering assembled together and glued in, and then that would be you'd create the artwork like that and then photocopy it to create the insert for the cassette. One of my favorites, which we played on the episode, is the Oral Orgasm sampler number 7, selling for the price of £3 back in the day. Comes with its own superlative condom. So should the audio that's contained on this cassette get a little bit too much for you, you're protected. And once again, inside we've got a fantastic fold-out collection, which gives us the track listing on one leaf, and then on the other two, the sources of where they're from. So as a sampler, I guess you could order each of these separate releases after hearing them on this compilation. And I know very little about the creators of this release, but they've got some great stuff on here. William Burroughs, Hugh Cornwall, John Lydon. So definitely some top tier content being released by the Oral Orgasm organization. Just one-sided. But look at that. I love this word source here. I'm sure I'd used to do things like this, super enlarged typing, and you get that amazing gritty sort of texture. There's probably a font that duplicates that kind of roughness you could get now. So yeah, we played a little bit of Oral Orgasm on the episode as well. So let's move on to the flyers inside. Okay, few examples of envelope art that used to be sent around with stickers and stamps and so on, decorating the envelopes. Here's Cordelia Records, which we played a track from the Cordelia Records sampler on that episode of the podcast, which was by Rima Rimba, a track called B-Bag, which presumably is in here somewhere. So yeah, they're based in Leicester in the UK, certainly were in the late 80s. So this is the sort of thing people would just like send that around, and then you could order their cassettes. And this kind of stuff is super typical of what we'd enclose in the letters that we sent to people. So if you're a producer or someone issuing a call for work, you'd send like a few of these to your contacts with the request that they then pass them on in turn. So you'd sort of stock them with 5 or 10 copies of your little request here, and then they could send one in every envelope. And then a nice little bit of rubber stamp on the back with an address in France, by the look of it, for this compilation. This is an invitation for the new compilation, The Wall. Send me a chrome tape with 15 minutes of your art, music, sounds, radio art. Each compilation will include the work of 4 artists, and each artist will get a free copy. The deadline, no jury. No deadline, no jury. Send your work to Red Box with the address here. No rejects. Well, there you go. Guaranteed release if you send something to this label. Here's a flyer that we talked about in the episode. I love this one, Psycho-Oral Research, with some really nice handwritten lettering on it, and they've sort of distinguished themselves by having this red lettering underneath. I'm kind of imagining that this was either stamped or somehow produced separately, and then the black lettering would be sort of photocopied onto that paper, and then each flyer cut up. So actually having 2 colors on your flyer was pretty next level back in 89. This little one. This is Rob Maycock from Mindscan Tapes, who we spoke to back in episode 2 of the podcast. This is a request for contributions. UK Electronics Volume 2. Contributions needed. Ambient, new beat, mellow, rhythmic, instrumental, and dancey electronics. Send as many tracks as you wish on a C46. To Mindscan, please pass this flyer on. Thank you. The deadline is October 1990. You missed it now if that kind of ambient new beat is your jam. But this is a great typed flyer there from Rob. I love this one too. Ire Tapes, Matthias Lang. I definitely remember this label, and I should maybe try and contact Ire Tapes for the podcast and have a chat with them. M Nomized, Sample 3 C60, 16 tracks from a great French artist. He definitely was very present back in the cassette scene. It was almost no compilation cassette would be released without an M Nomized track on it. I certainly released at least one thing with some of his stuff on there, which was very good. And funnily enough, here's one from me. Sound Image UK. This stuff, I remember doing this. This is actually done with Letraset, the little sort of sheets of characters that you'd sort of rub off with a pencil and just assemble the words. It looks like really kind of neatly done. I don't think my letra setting was that good, so maybe this was printed in some other way and then kind of assembled into a little flyer for contributions. This is a card here. Please pay money due for sales of attend attention. So Steve's sending a little request for payment for his cassette on a nice little postcard there. And as it happens, we've got the actual tape here. I managed to get hold of this through Discogs quite recently because I didn't have a copy. I've got a track on the tape myself, but somehow my copy got lost through time. And really happy to get hold of this again. Quite a nice heavy card this one's printed on, and there's this sort of effect where there's the kind of whatever that is typed or maybe computer printed lettering for the artist with the name of the track in sort of handwritten underneath it. That's a really nice effect there. So yeah, nice bit of work for that cover. All right, what else have we got? I've got a real a real treasure to show you here. Just a letter from Audiophile Tapes, June 1990 update. So this is the Audiophile Tapes catalogue. So a few places would set themselves up as little distributors and as well as their own releases, sell various things from other labels. So this is what you could get from Audiophile Tapes back then. Yeah, it's all, the prices are all really really cheap by today's standards. $5, $4, $4.50. Yeah, a whole lot of notable people carried on this catalogue here. Big City Orchestra, John Hudak, both of whom had releases on Corn Plastics. We spoke to Franz de Ward from Corn Plastics in episode 4 and played some of their stuff as well. Now, so that's the catalogue, but the best bit is this from Matt Howarth. And Matt was an illustrator and a kind of figure in the cassette scene, and he would produce these album reviews as illustrated comic strips. Sonic Curiosity was his thing. So here's a copy of Sonic Curiosity. I don't think it has a date on it. But yeah, here we go. What's all this I hear about? A new release by Mars Everywhere. It's a 90-minute cassette tape only release called Visitor Parking. It's a live concert from back in 1976 when the band comprised of Ernie Falcone, Tom Fennick, and Barney Jones. I love their wide sprawl style of electronic music. Really great stuff. And it goes on the other side too. Yeah, really good. Definitely worth looking into a little bit more archive of Matt Howarth and what he did before and after. Here's a nice bit of dot matrix printing. Oh, this is the letter that came with the cassette here. Okay, let's move on to what else have we got? A few letters. Premonition Tapes, the guys who released the Bad News Bible. And this is the little sort of fanzine that accompanied the Bad News Bible. Amazing bit of photocopy effort here. Let's see, what have we got? Yeah, typewriting or dot matrix printing inside, along with some kind of photocopy artwork. It's the kind of stuff that we talked about in the podcast. This page here, this is the one where this background would have been printed as a separate piece, and then each of these panels cut out and then glued onto the master copy before being photocopied again to arrive at this kind of look. I love this stuff. Really, yeah, really fun to look at. There's a whole heap of other things here. Some other cassette kind of flyers. Here's a big one. No Class issue number 10, True Life Stories from an Old Sailor, as well as chunky interviews with Killing Joke and Metal Merchant's Bo Gamelan ensemble. So yeah, they were obviously, Killing Joke are huge, and Bo Gamelan were really significant back then too. Oh, right. Oh, here's something I wanted to show you. This is the Omega Ensemble flyer, and we talk about that in the episode 4 of the podcast. This is the piece of print that we found in this set of flyers, and took a photograph to send over to Tom Gibson. He did indeed track down Kevin Harper and Paul Ramsey from the band, and have a chat to them and dig out the master tape for the Omega Ensemble release. So yeah, unfortunately I don't have that cassette here, but this is what came with it, just to publicize the band. Fantastic stuff. What else have we got? Yeah, it's quite a nice one with some illustrations on it. I don't know this label, Dreams of the Deep, from Indiana in the USA, but advertising a couple of releases on their catalogue. And yeah, oh, this one, Poison Plant Music. We used to collaborate with Poison Plant, who are also based in the US, and they were like a small collective releasing their own work and then building up a small distribution catalogue. So yeah, cool stuff. What else? We could just like keep going on here. A little creative letter from the Vitamin B12, who feature on the Premonitions compilation, and yeah, do really sort of masterful tape cut-ups with improvised music over the top. They're really prolific. Actually, you can still find them on Bandcamp right now. Prolific and super creative from Brighton in the UK. Let me see. Here's a really nice one. This is Tabloid Magazine from Exeter in the UK, issue number 5, with a C50 cassette and 48-page A6 booklet format for the fanzine. On his, yeah. Oh, I knew there was something about this one. I've actually got a track on this on this cassette. Unfortunately, it's another cassette that I don't actually have myself. But yeah, I really like the look of that. And let's just finish off with this one. This is Metro Riquet, which was a French fanzine, January 1989, issue number 6, international zine with Vincent O'Brien, Ivan Sladek, Mike Shannon, Stefan Zelkom interview, yeah, various other artists. Where are they all now? So here's a little order form where once you get the flyer, you can fill out your details here, send it back with your 20 francs, get a copy of the fanzine from François Duvivier in Paris. Beautiful stuff. So I hope that's been interesting and a little insight into some of the stuff which used to come through our letterbox in the late 80s and onward. Maybe we'll do this again sometime once I get some more material to share. And in the meantime, keep listening. Bye.